I often say to clients when they come up to this room, I say, did you cross the road on the way here? And they'll say, yeah. I say, were you fearful in crossing the road? No, I just crossed the road. I said, did you feel confident crossing the road? No, I just crossed the road. And that's more what groundedness is about. You wouldn't approach a road that you're going to cross and go, I'm feeling confident, I'm feeling good, I can manage, yep, I can get across. You just know how to read the road, you know how to keep yourself safe, you cross the road. Hey there, how's it going? This is James Tripp with a video for James Tripp Chaos Wave, which is a channel for you if you have an interest in using your mind to shape your life. What we're going to be doing in this video is looking at the idea of grounding or groundedness and how that's different from confidence. Now, there's this idea, it exists culturally, that when we're being held back by subtle fears, what's actually going on is that we lack confidence. And the solution to this is to find this holy grail called confidence. But the interesting thing is that way of thinking about things very rarely helps people solve the problem. That's what I'm talking about here. I'm in conversation with Lani Buess, who has a video series called Worth It here on YouTube. This is a 10-minute clip from a much longer conversation. The full interview is 1 hour. Here's 10 minutes from it for you. And check it out if you've ever felt that maybe you need more confidence, or if you have subtle fears hanging you back. There might be some goodness in this for you. Let's get into this conversation. I'll see you on the other side.
So I'm curious if you can explore the concept of groundedness and how you would define it, and why it really is so kind of pivotal, which I think it is.
Yes, I can. Now, the common term that people like to use is confidence. That's the word that gets bandied around out there in the world. But the interesting thing that I've found across time is the only people that ever use the word confidence are people who believe it's the thing they're lacking. And what I think tends to happen, I call it a holy grail concept, in that nobody seems to be any good at finding it. It's apparently it's out there and it exists, but nobody can quite hunt it down. And if you were to look at somebody, I often will say this to clients who say, well, I need more confidence. I say, who do you know who is confident? They'll say, well, Bob, my friend Bob, he's confident. I said, well, imagine Bob doing a thing that you would look and say, well, wow, how confident is Bob? If you were to go and ask Bob at that moment, Bob, what's it like to be so confident? Bob would look confused and go, well, what do you mean? I'm just getting on with doing my thing. They weren't there going, oh, I feel so confident, or brimming with an emotion called confidence, or a sensation called confidence. They're just doing what they do. So just outside my apartment here, there's an intersection and some traffic lights there. And I skip across the road all the time. I don't wait for the lights. Anyone who's local, nobody waits for the lights. They just read the traffic and they skip through. It's the way you get through. And I often say to clients when they come up to this room, I say, did you cross the road on the way here? And they'll say, yeah. I said, were you fearful in crossing the road? No, I just crossed the road. I said, did you feel confident crossing the road? No, I just crossed the road. And that's more what groundedness is about. It's not like, you wouldn't approach a road that you're going to cross and go, I'm feeling confident, I'm feeling good, I can manage, yep, I can get across. You just know how to read the road, you know how to keep yourself safe, you cross the road. So the thing about groundedness, I often use the word grounding, but groundedness is more cumbersome, but it feels more accurate. The thing about groundedness is being grounded in a certain knowledge. So the reason people cross the road without fear and they just take care of themselves is because they are grounded in the knowledge they need to be able to take care of that. So you get situation-specific grounding. So when somebody gets really competent at something, they just show up. It's like, it's no big deal. They know what they need to pay attention to. They know what they need to do, and they just cross the road. So that's situation-specific groundedness. However, there's another level of groundedness, which is, instead of being grounded in the knowledge about how the intersection works and how the traffic moves and what you need to pay attention to, you can become grounded in the knowledge of how your mind and psychology creates the experience that you're in. You can be grounded in a kind of self-knowledge that enables you to be free to know that in this moment, whatever happens, it's going to be okay. I'm going to handle it. And what this often means, this is a little bit more complex than the road crossing thing, but it often means letting go of all these hooks and these attachments of it will be absolutely terrible if people think this about me, or it will be absolutely terrible if that went wrong, or it would absolutely terrible if, and start to recognize the nature of how we create insecurity within our own minds in the moments. Insecurity has a recipe. And it's the kind of thing we get good at creating for ourselves. And once you see the recipe, you can start changing the ingredients. But you can also see when you're doing the baking as well. And when you see, I'm baking up that insecurity, and you have another level of understanding that that doesn't serve me, but there's something else that serves me more fully, which is just me being in a kind of open bandwidth state, able to respond with a deep knowledge that whatever happens, this is going to be okay. I'm going to come out the other side swinging, all is going to be good. So it's sort of creating this understanding of self and your capability and capacity in the world, of unhooking illusory threats, because that's a big thing. We respond, most of the threats we're reacting to in our lives are completely illusory. There is no bear about to devour us in this moment. It's just some mind-made bear. So starting to recognize the nature of this, we free ourselves from it and start to develop this sort of grounding that's cross-contextual, that we can bring to a variety of different situations, including new situations that we've not been in before. And know, do you know what? I'm going to handle this. And if I don't, well, then I don't. And life either rolls on or it doesn't. And at some point, it's not going to roll on, because that happens for everybody. But here I am, still moving, still rolling. So it's just a kind of a sort of a knowledge, so grounding in knowledge, but it's a particular type of knowledge that creates a cross-contextual grounding. But very powerful stuff.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So for those people who are like, oh, just getting an awareness of this now, right? And wanting to unhook their illusionary threats, right? What some provocative questions can they ask themselves to be like, okay, this is, I'm kind of living in this, this story that I'm telling myself that might not be accurate, right? Yeah. So like for somebody who kind of wants to like, okay, how do I start stepping outside of my story in that sense?
Okay. That's an interesting thing. I wish there was a simple pick, block pick that could be used. One of the things that people habitually do is the first, they are immediately had by their narrative about what's going on, their unconscious narrative. So the first way their mind makes something up to be, they run with it, they go into it. So one useful thing, and I'm aware that if somebody's gone too far down the rabbit hole and the blood's dropped out of their prefrontal cortex and they're in their primitive brain and the fight-flight systems are really kicking off, it's probably a little bit far down the track to pull out at that time. But if you've still got some prefrontal stuff online, questions like, what is every other way of seeing this? What else might be going on here? What else could be true here? One thing that I sometimes encourage people to do is get into the habit of having at least 3 different ways of seeing each situation, because it makes it a lot easier to not get caught up in one, thinking it's the absolute truth. The real trick, though, is what I call transcending the truth trap. And the truth trap is believing that ideas are facts. And the truth is, ideas are always ideas. They're never facts, because there's always another way that situation could have been described or understood. There always is. There's always another way of looking at things, another way of seeing things. There's actually technically an infinite number of other ways, but we always get caught in one and we're so sure that that's it.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things I do when I'm doing a certain sort of developmental coaching with clients, particularly around developing grounding, is I help them to understand this point and really see it. Because it's not enough to intellectually go, okay, so thoughts are not facts, right? I get that. Yeah, this is just like my mind-made experience. I understand that. That's not enough. It's really seeing it in the moment when it counts. So knowing intellectually that you're living in an illusion doesn't help. Seeing the illusion in the moment helps massively. So with regard to questions, self-coaching questions, the questions are more powerful once you've had an experience of seeing the illusion. Because the questions bring you back to that seeing rather than necessarily create the seeing in itself. So if I'm coaching people, what I want to do in this area is I want to give them experiences of really seeing through their stories, their cherished truths, all of this, seeing the illusory nature of them. And then later on, it's much, much easier when they're out and about in the world, if they find themselves being pulled into a particular ungrounding story, an insecure making story, to be able to ask questions that bring them back to that seeing, that thing they have now seen, which is, that isn't true. That's just something my mind is creating right now.
Okay, so if you got some goodness from that, please do support the channel. Do hit like. What did you get from it? I'd love to hear in the comments section below. And if you're new here, subscribe to the channel for more videos like these, more on using your mind to shape your life. And I do want to say, a number of years ago, I did a webinar series called Beyond the Subtle Fears, where I went really deeply into this stuff. I'm planning for November this year to do a Beyond the Subtle Fears 2.0, where we'll be going back into that material much more richly, much more deeply. It will be a live webinar series again. Haven't got any way that you can possibly subscribe to that right now, but I'm just flagging it in case it's something of interest to you. You can PM me and say, yeah, I'd be interested, or just keep it in the back of your mind, whatever works for you. Okay, until we speak again, keep on using your mind to shape your life.